Welcome to our podcast dedicated to the scaling up process and HR management. I'm Duc Quy, international student from Beirut, Lebanon.
And I'm Sophie Simons, international student from Germany.
We are studying at Audencia. In this series, we explore business and career insights from industry experts. Today, we'll discuss strategies from the company scaling up, the role of intrapreneurship, and how HR policies adapt to support growth. Duc is joining us today from the department management at Amaris Consulting. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being here to share your valuable experience. Mr. Nguyen, welcome to our podcast.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So I'm starting with the first question. Can you please briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Duc Quy. So I'm a part of the company for around 5 years with Amaris. Right now, I'm department manager and located in our office in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam.
Can you tell us a little about your career journey? What brought you to Amaris Consulting and what made you want to join in this company?
All right. This could be interesting. I got asked this question quite frequent, so I will share you a little bit of context. At that time, I was still a university student. I was pursuing my master's degree in the UK, and I got introduced about this position from one of my former colleagues in the previous company. To be honest, at that time, I was planning to stay a couple of years in Europe after my graduation. Fresh graduates, exploring a little bit, getting international experience. So that was my plan. However, when I got approached and introduced about the business position at Amaris, I really attracted by the role, to be honest. So it's somehow linked to my major and also my interest, my personal interest. So technically, I got hooked about the position. So I proceed for the interview process. We have 3 rounds of interviews for the manager position. And my friend, she was a talent acquisition at that time. And she shared with me that the most challenging round is the second round. So I passed the first round. I passed the second round. I even talked to her under the table to hear about the feedback and what should I prepare for the final round. Usually the final round is just a negotiation in terms of the KPIs and benefit, etc. So I thought I attended the final round with a very high confidence. And then after the third round, I got shocked. I got a rejection email. To be frank with you, I got rejected. And I didn't accept it. So I drove an email and also reached the link around the person linking up the local director at that time, asking for a second chance. I'm not sure that's the common sense in the industry or not, but that's what I did. And they gave me a second chance. So we arranged another additional interview around with one of the department manager at that time in the UK. So I traveled to London and have a face-to-face interview with department manager at that time. And here I am today.
What is your current role at Amaris Consulting and what does a typical day look like for you?
My scope and position is as a manager. We have 3 main scopes. The first one would be business development. So technically, I will oversee and also drive the growth of my business, client-facing, client meetings, etc. The second one is the talent management. As a consulting company, the most important access is our consultant. So that's why I also spend quite a considerable time to work with our consultant to provide the best solution to our clients. So that's the second scope, including recruitment, including career path, follow-up, development, etc. And the third one is more strategic one, so financial management. So imagine you run a company and then you have a project, meaning that you have a revenue and then you have a profit. And what should you do with the profit, right? You can reinvest to make more profit in the next year, or you can do something else. So that's a decision that as a manager at Amaris, we can take a decision. So that's technically 3 scopes for the manager position. My typical day, let's say as a very fresh manager at Amaris, I would start the day, I'm quite old school. So I would start the day with a to-do list. I have my own note and I list down all the tasks and also prioritize them. What should I complete within the day? And then most of the time within the day, I spend time with my clients, having a client meetings, joining a networking events to explore the opportunities in the market, to really interview and understand the challenging that our clients is facing. And then after that, having discussion with the team in parallel, with the consultant team to make sure that our solution is the best solution to tackle the problem of the clients. Okay. So technically, that's pretty much about a day.
Would you say, has your role evolved since you first joined the company? So have there been any significant shifts in responsibilities? as the company has scaled?
My answer would be a little bit different to the other department manager within Amaris because my story is different. I think that's a point, right? So we have a different perspective. So technically, my scope at the beginning, like I shared to you, so I spend most of my time do client facing, client meeting, do calling. You cannot imagine like how much time I spend to do the cold email, calling, meeting clients. So technically, that's the main task when I first joined the company, understand the local challenge and helping them. After that, when our business unit reached a certain size, so my focus shifting from 100% on the business development and to 50% of business development and 50%, I would say, estimatedly to the talent management. Because if you want to grow and in a sustainable way, you have to have a strong team. People is always a core of everything. Every organization is only sustainable with a great team. So that's why I spent time after 1 or 2 years when I have a certain portfolio of clients. I spend time to structure my team, making sure that like for all the key people, I do have a succession plan. And at the same time, like making sure that our clients, the client obsession mindset is still there. So client-centric mindset, but with the care to the internal consultant team. Okay. And most recently, I will share this story in Vietnam. Actually, when I joined Vietnam, the business in Vietnam is really small. At that time, our team just have around 20 people. We have around 400 people now at the moment. That's why 2 years ago, when we reached a new level, let's say, so our company scaled to a new level in Vietnam. So our clients is more demanding. So they're expecting us to provide a global expertise of Amaris, but with the local price. It's really challenging. Like they would want, because they heard Amaris supporting a lot of clients in Europe with a lot of success stories. However, they would like to have the same quality of service, but with a very competitive price. So that's why at that time, my scope has changed a little bit. So I shift my focus to the delivery side, making sure that I could be the one bringing our global expertise from other countries, most of the time in Europe countries of Amaris, to Vietnam. Ensure that our team in Vietnam can deliver the same quality of service with the people, the delivery team here in Vietnam. So that's the most recent scope that I'm in charge and my mission right now.
The market is evolving rapidly, especially with the rise of AI. How is Amaris embracing AI to stay competitive? And how has this technological evolution impacted your scaling strategy?
Firstly, AI, you imagine that if around 20, 25 years ago, when first time internet got introduced. So this is meaning that like for the companies, if we don't take this opportunity, we will fall behind. You all heard about that, right? Otherwise, you will be doomed in the next 2 or 3 years. That's for the norm right now. Fortunately, we have a very visionary leader, Olivier. So he's the founder of the group, Mantle Group, which is the mother company of Amaris. So in every single event, in every single activities, AI is always one of the topics that we have been mentioned about. So I think, of course, there are a lot of practice that we did, but we did fail as well in implementing AI, to be frank. But the points that like from Amaris, I think they really put AI in the center of everything. Of course, later on, I can share you some of the examples that I do as my role as a department manager and also the support from the group for this one.
Each manager at Amaris is responsible for the administrative and financial management of their business unit. How do you ensure that managers are well equipped to handle the scaling pressures? And what role do they play in driving company-wide growth?
Actually, it links to my previous statement from a point of view, and I think also in our company's point of view, we think people is the core of everything. If we have the good team, so we can do everything. So that's why when come up to the very first practice to have the good team is to select the right person. So that's why the practice we did is have a proper recruitment strategies. So the first thing first, and then for the training, we adapt according to what is the business requires. But recruitment strategies is, I think, the most vital role in having the good team.
And as Amaris grows, how do you ensure that client relationships remain strong and personalized? Are there specific strategies the company uses to maintain a high level of client satisfaction across its 1,000 global clients?
First thing first, client-centric. That's the one that I always keep in mind and I always share with my team. So we have to be obsessed with our clients, and our client success is our success. So how to do that? We have to treat our client like our close friend, meaning that we have really to understand what is their need. Every single client could be different. Imagine that you are a practical person and I give you the flower on your birthday. How do you feel compared to the very romantic one? So we have to treat our client exactly the same. We have to really understand and have different tailor-made account management plan for each particular client. That's the first practice to maintain the good relationship. The second one, I would say, most of our clients are international company. So having a local presence with the global expertise, that's exactly the challenge that I shared to you at the beginning. Is also the strategy that we're implementing right now. So we try to every single countries that our client having the office, we try to having the local team over there to do the client-facing proximity, them with the very local understanding, culture understanding. And last but not least is the having regular feedback and improvement. I'm not sure how about you guys, but from me, I grow during my childhood, I read a lot of anime. Like my role model actually is, I'm not sure, have you ever heard about Naruto or Dragon Ball and One Piece? Okay. So my role model actually the character over there. So from my point of view, the best character would be the one never give up. Exactly the same with business. We have to put that mindset into the business. So it's okay to be failed, but you have to reflect and you have to step up, never give up. That's the way that and resilient is that the correct word that we should keep in mind. And that's the characteristic. That's a personal trait that keep you in the market, especially a very fast-paced market like industry, consulting industry.
How did you integrate AI in your everyday activities?
I will share you some of my personal practice. So as a manager, so I did a lot of client facing. And once in AI introduced in 2 years ago, I think one of the most used of AI, our Copilot right now, because we're using Microsoft, is to the meeting recap. We have a call right now, and then we do the transcription. And once the transcription finished, we just in 1 or 2 clicks, you have a recap of the whole meeting. That's the best way. The second practice I use is I also did a lot of interviews with the candidates as a manager at Amaris, because talent management and very first step of talent management is to select the right person, right? Whenever I have the interview, I will share the criteria from our company to evaluate. And based on those criteria, I will have the list of questions. I'm using Teams right now, so there is a function that record the transcript. And whenever the candidate provide the answer, based on the answer, the AI will give me some insights. What question should I ask next? So that's a really good use of AI as well. And last but not least is we receive a lot of requests for proposal requirements from the client. Sometimes the requirement is really complex. I have received the document requirements like 100 pages. So imagine that you read a document of 100 pages and you have to really understand word by word, make sure that you understand the requirement. So it helps me with AI. I can, with 1 or 2 clicks, copy paste the whole requirement into the text and then use the AI to do the analysis and give me some key factors that I need to take into consideration. So it helped me a lot with the bidding process, helped me a lot with the proposal building as well. I'm not sure you're familiar with the software development, but in software development, once you understand the requirement, you have to do the demo or the wireframe, let's say proof of concept. And in order to do that, in the past, it requires a lot of effort from the business analyst to do it. But right now, we have it. AI can do it in just a second. Yeah. So that's 1 or 2 examples that I think is really practical and saved me a lot of time.
Amaris places great importance on entrepreneurship. Could you explain how this entrepreneurial culture is encouraged within the company?
Of course, at Amaris, we have a lot of other values, but I always impressed by the value called trust. So imagine, as I still remember more than 5 years ago when I first joined the company, and as a very fresh graduate, and imagine that a company allowing a fresh graduate after 1 or 2 do the client presentation. So meeting the clients, pitching about the company, and also even taking the interview on the behalf of the company. Imagine, like, it was a big shock to me. How can a company can take the risk like that, allowing someone very fresh and introduce about the company? I'm really thankful when I think back from now on. So I think that says it all about the trust of the company on our major position. Yeah.
And what kind of support or trainings is offered to employees to take initiatives?
What we did at Amaris, and especially in my office, is we have an activity called local roadmap. So that's an activity on the employees, starting from the middle management and above, can join and to brainstorm together about what should we do in the next year. So it happens every year. So I'm going to have the local roadmap activity next week, actually. So to do the brainstorm for next year. So in that meeting, I think that's a really good initiative that our company organize, and every one of us can provide our suggestion. What should we do to build the company better, the local office here better? And based on that, the company will take into consideration and do the budgeting and implement in the plan for 2025. I don't work for a lot of companies, but I'm quite impressed with that initiative and that activity in Amaris. Yeah.
How does Amaris ensure that employees feel empowered to take risk or experiment without fear of failure? And are there any success stories or example of projects that didn't work out but still contributed positively?
Yeah, I can use my personal background actually was in business. I have no idea about technology. Imagine that just 1 or 2 weeks after internal training, and then you have to act as a technology expert on the behalf of company to pitch a company to our clients. You can imagine how I feel. So I would say I was considered as failure. However, the trust of the company, and also most importantly, the trust from my N+1 at that time is also my director right now. It's very important. So she encouraged me to take the risk. We learn, we take the feedback, we never give up. So the trust from the company and also from the coach, from the N+1 is very important.
And what do you think are the main challenges they should prepare for in a constantly evolving professional environment like yours?
Flexibility and adaptability, I would say, because consulting is a very fast pace. We all know that, especially for technology consulting like Amaris. So a lot of change, a lot of unstable scenarios will happen along the way. But you have to be really flexible. You need to adapt to all scenarios. So that's my suggestion for the potential young managers about to join the company to success in this role.
Thanks a lot. That were all our questions. So thank you for your time and valuable insights. It's been very inspiring to hear about Amaris Consulting's approach to grow and the entrepreneurship.
Thank you very much. Again, thank you for having me today.
Gian, thank you so much.